After my experience with the Walk for Peace monks, I decided that it was time to break up with my lover. I just realized that I was in a relationship with something that was taking way too much of my time and attention that I was willing to give it. I'm talking about my phone, y'all. But before I explain my 7-step phone breakup protocol, I want us to talk a little bit about why it's so freaking hard to stop scrolling. The average adult spends about 4 to 5 hours a day on their phone. And on average, we pick up our phones about 100 times a day. And if you don't believe me, check the screen time and usage on your phone. Check how long on average you are on your phone and check how many times you pick up your phone. If you have an Apple phone, you should be able to check that in the settings. That is insane. That is so much time that's spent looking down. Don't mind me, the posture that we are now getting, because I also am dealing with a back hump here that's been created because of this toxic relationship that I am in with my phone. And over weeks and months, that is so much time that is spent away from, let's face it, real life that is happening around us, in front of us, while we are looking down at our lovers. From a brain perspective, short form scrolling works on a dopamine loop. So what does that mean? It means that you've become addicted to that dopamine release every time you're scrolling on your phone, which becomes into addiction. It really is addictive. Researchers often compare scrolling and social media scrolling to slot machines because the results are unpredictable. You don't know if you're going to win next, if you're going to lose next. And scrolling in social media, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, just like the slot machines, when you're scrolling, you really don't know what's coming next. It could be something funny, something interesting, something sad, something horrific, something scary. That unpredictability keeps your brain wanting more. And it is why we become so addicted to these phones. Over time, our brain gets used to this, and that's neuroplasticity happening there. Our brain gets used to this new idea, new image, new sound, new video, something new happening every few seconds, and it's used to that constant novelty, constant something new happening every few seconds as you're scrolling with all these videos just looping in front of you. And when your brain adapts to that pace, slower things become harder. They really do. Reading becomes harder. Studying becomes harder. And what really got to me was the fact that I've realized that staying focused in a conversation, staying present in a moment was becoming harder for me. I kept wanting to reach for this darn phone because of that constant dopamine loop that I'm so addicted to. And that is what we mean by brain rot. And I love that this new generation, the Gen Zs and younger, are coming up with anti-brain rot challenges, showing more analog-based hobbies and more reading, journaling, having a personal curriculum. I love it because I'm in the learning and development field. I'm an avid learner. I've always loved reading books until recently because I was just so used to this scrolling and my brain was used to this fast-paced information. I was trying to multitask, do all the things. I couldn't just focus on what was in front of me. And I've noticed a tremendous amount of change ever since I've implemented this phone breakup protocol and breaking up with my phone, because that is what's really happening when we hear brain rot. Not that our brain is actually rotting, but your attention span, your cognitive endurance, they are getting weaker because your brain has been trained for constant simulation, which is what you get from scrolling, from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the things, Facebook, they're all working the same. They want to keep you on the app for as long as possible because that's how they make money. They make money from ads. They want you on the app for as long as possible. That is the whole goal. There's even research showing that just having your phone near you on your desk, on the dining room table, your available mental capacity, which means that your brain is still monitoring that phone that you've placed on the table, on your desk, wherever you are, and you've put it down. Your brain is still monitoring that phone. And in family psychology research, there's even a term which I wasn't aware of, but it's called technoference. And it sadly describes how phones interrupt interactions and reduces the feeling of connection between parents and kids. I started noticing this in my own home. I didn't know there was a term for it, but I did notice it. When my phone was near me, my attention was split. When it wasn't, I was calmer, I was more patient. and I was more present. And I know that my kids could feel the difference. But here is the positive thing. And this video is not about doomsday or, oh my gosh, we suck as a society. This video is here to encourage you to put your phones down by sharing this protocol, because your brain can be trained to do the opposite. And that is the beauty about neuroplasticity, because your brain changes based on what you train it to do the most. If you practice constant scrolling, it gets wired to do that. If you practice deeper focus and training and studying and learning, then it gets wired to do that too. And that's when I realized I just had to break up with my lover. And this is how I did it. The first step in this break up with your phone protocol is admit how much time you're spending together. I had to be honest about how often I was reaching for my phone and why. And it wasn't just about communication or staying connected or work. It was literally filling every little gap moment in my life throughout the day. Waking up was the first thing I grabbed. Going to the bathroom, I always took my phone to the bathroom. Waiting in line, anytime I needed to wait on something, I had my phone. It was filling every single gap that I had throughout my day. And not only every gap, even every moment that I was supposed to be cooking, I was supposed to be with my kids, and it was there. It was always there. So before we go any further, so we're going to do this together. We're going to go to settings. If you have an Apple phone, settings, then we are going to go to screen time, and then you can see your daily average, and you click on that. And you can see your average per week or your daily average, and it tells you where you're spending your time. So that's the first step, is knowing and becoming aware of how much time you're spending with your phone and where and why you're spending so much time on here. So I am using my work phone. I'm recording with my personal phone, so this will be skewed. You click on your day. On average, on my work phone, I'm spending 30 minutes a day. And on average, you can see how many times you pick up your phone. Your pickup average, mine is 5. And it even shows you the first thing that you use after picking up your phone. And this will tell you how much time you're spending with your phone and why you're reaching for it, because it tells you what are the apps that you're opening after you pick up your phone. You can do this on your personal phone, and then you can get an awareness and gauge on how much time and why you're spending that time on your phone. And that is the first step. And put it down in the comments. How much are you spending on your phone? For me, it was sometimes up to 8 hours a day. And that's because mostly sometimes I would have my phone playing a movie or playing a podcast or playing a video while I was working, while I was cooking. But that has to do more with me trying to multitask and do as much as I can possibly do. And it wasn't working for me. So my average time has gone down from 5-6 hours up to 8 hours to 2 to 3 hours. And that's still too much. Become aware about how much time you're spending with your phone, with your lover, and why. What are you doing after you pick up your phone? Where are you going to? And why are you doing that? Become aware of that first. And then we can go into step number 2 of the protocol. Step number 2 of the protocol was something that I did immediately after that walk for peace experience that I had with the monks. And that is stop sleeping with your phone. The strongest attachment loops happen in the morning and at night. When you wake up and you immediately reach out for your phone and start consuming and scrolling, your brain gets trained to do that. You are consuming things before you've even given yourself time and space to be with your own thoughts. You are already consuming other people's information, other people's thoughts, other people's lives before you've even given yourself time to be with you within. And that was crazy for me. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was literally charging my phone next to my bed, my nightstand. I used it as my alarm. It would wake me up. I would reach for it, and I would take it to the bathroom with me. And that was the first thing that I did every morning. At night, if you're taking your lover with you at your bed, it's just keeping your brain stimulated when it should be winding down. And that affects mood, sleep, and how much patience you're going to have the next day. And that is what really got to me, because that is one thing I'm definitely practicing is patience. Patience with my boys. They're young, they're learning, they're exploring, they're going to get in trouble, they're going to get into things. And the last thing they need is a mom that's overstimulated and that doesn't have enough patience within her to be able to hold space for their learning, for their exploration, for their growth. And this is what was causing so much trouble in my life and me being the best mom that I could be. So I set boundaries. I no longer take my phone to the bedroom. I no longer look at my phone an hour before sleep, an hour after I wake up, because I leave my phone here in the office. It's charging here in the office. I don't see it the last hour before I go to bed or the first hour when I wake up. It is no longer the first thing that I think about. I give myself time to be with my own thoughts after waking up. After I started protecting the edges of my day, I noticed that it not only improved my mood, it improved my patience, it improved my overall just happiness and ability to focus the next day at work, be able to be present with my kids. But also, one of the things that it also helped me with, which I guess I realized but didn't really want to acknowledge it helped me with my budgeting and finances, because I did the most impulsive purchases at night when I had my phone in my bed and was just scrolling and I couldn't sleep. I would make the most impulsive purchases in the middle of the night. Because I no longer have access to my phone in the middle of the night, I no longer make those silly impulsive purchases anymore. And it's actually helping me with my financial journey as well. Step number 3 in the protocol is create physical distance with your phone. You cannot reset a relationship or break up with something that's always in your hand, in your pocket, near you, near your desk, just constantly with you at all times. How are you going to break up with it? You can't. You have to create physical distance between you and your lover. If I'm in the kitchen with my kids, the phone stays in the office. If I go to the bathroom, I no longer take my phone to the bathroom. Instead, I have a book in every bathroom. This may be weird and nasty for some people, but whatever. Even if it's just a few pages or a few words, I am just taking a moment to read. And step number 4 in the phone breakup protocol is set boundaries for your attention. You just can't be fully present in 2 places at once. You're either on your phone, or you're either watching your kids, or you're cooking, or you're being with the family, or you're talking, you're having a conversation, or you're on your phone. When you are splitting your attention into multiple things, you're not present in any of them. So I created phone clear zones for myself. No phones at meal times. This has been hard because we were so used to having something playing in the background. So this has been difficult for us, but I have maintained more than not. We have meals without any devices where we're able to see each other's eyes, which is very important for growing babies, growing toddlers, kids, for you to have that eye contact with them, that conversation. During meal times, I ask my boys, my husband asked my boys, how was your day? What did you do today? Did you have fun? All these questions, and they start telling stories about their day. And that's something that's missing. It was missing in our lives, in our homes, and in so many homes is storytelling. What happened throughout your day because of this, your lover being with you at dinner time. It's a big no-no. So no phones during meal times, no phones during playtime. I get my lunch break around 12 noon like most people, and I work from home. So during that time, I go and eat with my kids. My sister takes care of them, or my nanny, and I give them a break during that time, or I say, okay, I'm going to spend time with the kids. I used to take my phone with me, and I don't longer do that. I keep the phone in the office, and I go and be present with them. I make my breakfast, my lunch, whatever it is I'm eating, and I eat with them. I ask them questions. And during that time, I also do a bit of homeschooling for them as well. I don't have my phone with me during conversations. One of my biggest pet peeves, my mom is really bad at doing this. We were at mealtime having conversations. The phone rings. She answers it. It is the most annoying thing now to me, now that I've become aware of how much of a problem it is. But I have to be patient because not everybody's going through the same journey as I am. And that's another thing. Not everybody's going to be going through the same journey as you are, as you're breaking up with your phone and you're becoming aware of all this. It honestly feels like I've never really smoked or been addicted to any other drugs, but I've heard a lot of stories about how smokers, when they quit smoking, all of a sudden they start becoming aware of all the different smells that they hadn't smelled in a while or in forever. They start noticing it. I used to work in a jewelry store, and a man walked in and he smelled my perfume because I used to wear perfume at the time. I don't wear perfume anymore because I'm going through this non-toxic, low-tox journey. I'm the low-tox mama on Instagram if you're interested. Anyway, I don't wear perfumes, but I used to wear a lot of perfume when I was younger. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've never smelled that smell. Like, what is it? What is the perfume name? Is it a flower? And I'm like, I don't even remember what it was. But he was telling me how all of a sudden he started smelling all these different things, and he started noticing, becoming aware of it because he quit smoking. That's how it was for me. When I started breaking up with my phone, I started becoming aware of all the things that I was missing out on, all the things that I wasn't aware that were happening, all the little just moments with the boys, the conversations that I was having. It felt like I had just quit smoking, and I was becoming aware of all these different moments in my life that I was missing out because my head was down on here or my attention was split with this device that was made to be a tool for us, not something that was taking over our lives. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I also don't have my phone with me while I'm working. I work in corporate. I manage a lot of projects. Again, I'm in the learning and development field and pharmaceutical industry. And I was constantly just working late a lot of the times. I was working on the weekends, trying to get projects done. And a lot of it was because I did have a lot of work. But the other reason I was getting behind was because my lover was distracting me. Now I have focused work time where I'm focused at work. I put on headphones. I listen to Aztec music, and that's what I do. I have my focus work blocks, and I get so much done, y'all. I've gotten so much done. I think people are noticing how much I'm getting done, and I've become more creative. I've become just more solution driven, and it has really changed the rhythm of my work and how much more time I have now to spend with my kids. Step number 5 in the break up with your phone protocol is stop answering every ping. Those notifications are keeping your relationship with your lover alive. That's how they get you, with the notification, because it's, again, you're in that dopamine loop. They create these micro interruptions that fragment your attention. Again, attention splitting. It just doesn't work. Now you've been interrupted from whatever deep work, whatever you were doing at work. You've been interrupted. You look away, and then it takes a while sometimes. It takes a while to get back into that flow, that focus work. So what's the solution? Turn them off. Turn off those non-essential notifications. And this was a big shift because it felt, after turning off the notifications, as silly as it sounds, it really feels like your phone is no longer controlling you. Now you have more control over how and when you use the phone. Step number 6 in the break up with your phone protocol is replace the habit loop, which means scrolling fills small emotional gaps, boredom, fatigue, avoidance, transition moments, waiting. It fills those gaps. And if you don't have something else that you're replacing it with, it's going to be very hard to stop and to break up with your phone. So what I did is I've replaced those gaps, those moments, that loop that I was in, with reading. Like I said, I've been reading so much. Reading and journaling are my two personal things. I've seen a lot more people post about analog hobbies where they're making things with their hands, which is something that we've gone away from a lot, is actually making things with our hands. And something that's become so underrated that a lot of people stop doing is do nothing. Just do nothing for a few moments. Just sit there and do nothing. You don't have to constantly be feeding your brain of stimulation, things, information. Just do nothing for a few moments. And that's where meditation comes in. Mindfulness, creating those mindful moments. And if you have not seen the previous videos that I created about my experience with the walk for monks and the peace journey that I'm in, as well as the Ikigai video, I suggest that you go to those as well, because I talk a lot about the importance of mindfulness and how to easily practice mindfulness, because I'm one that has never been able to meditate, but just taking breaths and breathing. I'm reading a lot about breathing. I'm reading this book called Breath by James Nestor, and it is changing, honestly, everything. I'll share more about that when I'm done with that. And step number 7 in the protocol to break up with your phone is redefine the relationship. You don't have to completely avoid your lover. Use it as it was intended to be used, as a tool, as something that's helping you. You know, most of us can't realistically completely break up with our phones. Let's be real. We just can't. We need it for work. We need it to call our kids. We need it for so many things now in life. It's become so embedded into our lifestyles that it would be extremely difficult to completely break up with your phone. So let's redefine the relationship. And you can do that by following this protocol. By following the steps, you've already redefined your relationship with your phone. When you start changing your relationship with your phone, you will feel it, and the people around you will notice, your kids will notice, your partner will notice. It will be noticeable from within and from people in your life. Now, it won't be easy at first because your brain, especially if you're watching this now, there's a reason why you clicked on here. Your brain is currently trained for that constant stimulation, that constant novelty, that constant scrolling that you've been doing. It won't be easy at first. You will feel restless. You will be thinking about, oh, let me reach for my phone. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, no, let me not reach for my phone. You will want to reach for it. And I don't know, it just sounds ridiculous that we've become addicted to our phones, but it's the truth. There's so much research out there that shows just go to your settings and find out for yourself how long are you spending with your phone, and that'll answer that if you're addicted or not. Because most of us are spending way too much time with our lovers, and it's not normal and it's not good for our brains because we're then not able to do all the other things in life, be with real people around us, experience life as we were meant to experience it. So you will want to check for your phone. You will want to reach for your phone. You will feel a sense of boredom, a sense of restlessness, but it will get better. It will get better because I went through it. I'm still going through it. I'm not perfect. I still reach out for my phone sometimes. And before you know it, I'm like, shoot, I've been on it for like 30 minutes. Like, what the heck? 30 minutes went by so fast. I wish I could say that when I'm on the treadmill, but it's not. I stopped letting the phone be the main relationship in my life.